Hey everybody, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I have another scrapbooking older supplies video today, and I'm using my absurd amount of washi tape for this layout. Look at this. This is crazy. This is what 10 years of scrapbooking will do. Make you collect thousands of rolls of washi tape. Here's my picture, and as you can see, this is what I call a hard to scrap photo because of the colors in it. You've got this pinkish purple, kind of a periwinkle color, and then that dark green. These are colors I would never put together. So for me, the easiest way to do that is to put some washi tape together. And I went through all my rolls. This is crazy. Look at this. Yeah, I keep them in this plastic clear container. And so I got them all out and picked out a bunch more that I think I might use. I don't use all of them, but I wanted to use some of this stuff up because, you know, you just collect it over the years and it sits there, and you know how washi tape is. You never use a whole roll. It's a miracle if you ever use a whole roll. Why did I buy all this? Why? There is no answer. I guess I just felt like I needed every polka dot, every stripe, every arrow, every solid, and every shade of every color ever invented. But anyway, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So for this, I challenged myself to not use any pattern paper at all. So the bulk of this is going to be washi tape and embellishments. So I got my white cardstock here to start, and all my washi tapes match or kind of match this picture. And so my idea for this is to use a bunch of different strips of the tape and create a vertical striped design, I guess you could say. And I love to tear my washi tape right off this strip. Sometimes I leave it straight, sometimes I tear it. Just depends on the tape, depends on my mood, and it depends on, you know, what I'm making, I guess you could say. But I've got several different pinks here, several different greens. I've got a little floral there. The one I just put on there right now is actually a very light gold chevron color. I've got some dark greens, some lime green, some I guess you would say periwinkle. The colors in the photo, her sheets are actually purple, but we've had these sheets for so long they've kind of faded in spots and they kind of look pink in the picture. And the reason I'm scrapbooking this picture is because my daughter went through a phase where she wanted to wear giant tennis shoes. She would go in my closet, she would get my husband's tennis shoes and clunk around in them in the house. And so for Christmas, Santa Claus brought her own large clunky tennis shoes. And so this night she wore them to bed and she fell asleep in them. And that's how I found her when I went to check on her. And I just thought it was the most precious thing. So I had to get a picture of her in her giant shoes because she doesn't do it anymore. And so to me, it's important to get these phases documented. Okay, so I've got the whole strip idea done. I love how this looks. Even though it's a different color scheme, it goes with my picture, and I think that makes it coordinate. Like by itself, it looks like, why would you use purple, pinks, and greens together? It's just a very different color scheme. But when your picture calls for it, I think it's appropriate. So I'm going to fade some of this out, not too much, but I do want to do some mixed media on this page. So I'm going to add some white gesso over a lot of this, and you're still going to be able to see it. It's just going to lighten it up just a little bit, and it's going to make my washi tape able to take some sprays and some gelatos and things like that. And I apologize if I sounds kind of weird. I've been sneezing and been stuffed up all weekend, so I apologize for my voice. So I pulled out some gelatos in coordinating pinks and greens, and I'm just kind of using the packaging technique. I'm smudging the gelato right on the paper and kind of using my water brush to smudge it down, just a little bit of everything here. And my intention is, you know, not to cover up the washi tape, but I kind of wanted to create a little bit of a messy look with just some, you know, splotches of color on top of the tape. Now, with the washi tape, if you've ever used it, which I'm sure you have, you know that if you put something wet right on top of it, it's just going to wipe right off. And so in this case, you definitely need the gesso in order for this color to stay on top of it. The gelatos may work, but you know, when you're dealing with something wet, it's probably going to resist it a lot more than it is going to let it soak in. So it's very different than doing this on paper. So I'm using the greens, I'm using some purple, a little bit of pink. I'm just trying to coordinate the colors that go, mixing some pink and purple together. And, you know, purple is a hard color to use in scrapbooking. There's so many different shades of it, and it's not my most favorite color to scrap. But, you know, when you've got it in your picture, you kind of have to go with it. And, you know, in my experience, it's hard to find collections that have a lot of purple in it nowadays. And so washi tape is a great way to do this, you know, and I feel like I don't even need pattern paper for this. So I'm just adding some shimmers here. I've got some green, I've got a little bit of purple. This is my favorite part of making backgrounds, is just kind of using different things to make it. You know, you've got watercolors, you've got sprays, you've got gelatos, you've got acrylic paints, you've got colored pencils, pastels, so many things. It's just fun to mix them all together. I'm just using my water brush to help the sprays kind of smudge a little bit and run. And I love how this is looking. I was kind of skeptical when I first started it because I haven't done an all washi tape layout. I actually did a recent one using washi tape. It wasn't as elaborate as this, and I used one piece of pattern paper behind my pictures. But for this one, I actually don't think I used any pattern paper at all. And when you're using colors like purple and green, you want to be careful that you don't spray them on top of one another, because if they blend, you're going to get a really ugly color. So be careful of that. I added a little bit of tissue paper. Oh, check this out. This is another part of my why did I buy that stash. That is strictly crate paper embellishments in that little blue container. It's from multiple collections, the vellum, the die cuts, the cards, the foil, everything. So this is what I'm going to use in lieu of pattern paper. I picked out everything that matched. I picked out green pieces, I picked out pinkish purple pieces, and a little bit with some gold on it. And I'm going to use those as layers. And I love how that turned out. It matches the collection, not the collection, the washi tape that I've got going here. I'm going to stick all that down. It's just a bunch of little die cuts. Some of it is vellum. Like those two green pieces are vellum, and these are two random ticket card type little embellishments that came in some random crate paper collection. I think I've got open book. I've got, oh gosh, I can't even remember. The Valentine one, Kiss Kiss, I think it was. Gosh, a lot of Maggie Holmes in there. I just cram it all into that container, and there it is. All right, so I let everything dry. This is the next day. I did some stitching. I did some gold stitching on those layers, and I also did a lot of stitching on my washi tape. I did gold, I did green, and I did some pink. I did some straight stitching, I did some zigzags, a little bit of, you know, just random stitching, and it's very subtle, doesn't stand out a whole lot. And I've decided that my title is going to be Big Shoes, Little Feet. And I went through my stash of stickers. That's from Hobby Lobby. And at first I think I'm going to use these thickers that are gorgeous, gold glitter thickers. And I keep these here for a while, but I do wind up changing those. I don't know, something about it didn't work. I thought about overlapping the die cut. And that die cut is on white cardstock. Cut it on my Cameo. And the font is called Shoreline. I think it's called Shoreline. So when all else fails and I'm at a standpoint, that doesn't make any sense. What? When I'm at a point and I'm like, what do I do next? I always just say, okay, it's time to add thread. So that's my go-to thing for when I'm staring at my layout and I don't know what to do next. So I grab the gold, I grab the green, I grab the pink. I've got some gold on the left, some green on the right, a little bit of pink on the bottom. And again, it's very subtle. And I did leave some of the strings from the layers that I sewed just because I liked the way it looked. This is a random die cut. It got squished under something on my desk, and I thought I just might as well use this. So I cut it and just used it as a layer. It was just some random circles. They have no meaning to this. It just was something I thought, hey, I'll just use that because it's going to get thrown away or it's going to get stuck under something else on my avalanche of stuff on my desk and it's going to go missing or it's going to get tossed. So just use it. So I'm going to glue everything down because I know that that's where it's going to go. And here's where I change. I still use glittery gold thickers, but I changed the font. I use some smaller ones. These are smaller, but they're a little bit thicker, or, you know, chunkier letters. And I like the way they fit better in that little dip between the O and the E of shoes. I'm going to staple that vellum arrow down. And I mainly use that because it was green and it looked cool pointing to her legs. So I decided that I was going to dig through my stash of pink letter stickers, and I love these. These are from Glitz. Glitz doesn't even exist anymore, but these are like a very light wood grain pink. I love those. I'm going to use that for the word little, mainly because it's little, and the word is little, so it goes. And I'm going to use those same thickers for the word feet, and I kind of toy around with where to put the word feet, and I move it over just a little bit. I love the font of the word shoes. That shoreline font is really, really cool. If you like cursive fonts, it's a really cool one to look up. And I got that at defont.com. So I pulled out a couple of flare buttons. And mainly I'm going to use them because they match perfectly. I don't use grass green colors a lot. And so I'm going to use that one. It's got some arrows on it. And then this bokeh heart. It's such a unique shade of pinkish purple that it hardly ever matches anything that I have until this layout. That's why I hoard things, you know, because you never know when it's going to match and you never know when it's going to coordinate with something. You know, I've looked at those before and I thought, gosh, I love these. I'm never going to use these. When am I going to use something that matches these? And lo and behold, here we go. That's why I have a hard time parting with things, because I feel like at some point in my life, it's going to match something. And it's interesting to go back to your older stash, because you know how your style changes over time, to go back and use some of this older stuff with your newer style and just to see how it has changed. So add a couple more little things there, and I'm going to add a little bit of journaling. The only problem with this layout is I did not know where to put my journaling. So I just wrote a couple things about these shoes on the washi tape, really tiny. And then I added some gold color shine just because I had gold going on already. And I felt like, you know, you need some gold drops. So I did that. And then the last thing I do is pull out a couple of pink sequins. And these are from a little tube from Hazel and Ruby. And they're very subtle. You know, it's hard to see them until you look at it in person. But there's my final layout. I love, love, love how this turned out. I was so excited. No pattern paper. A bunch of washi tape from my stash. Lots of things used up. This was really fun to do. I highly urge you to try to make a layout with just your washi tape, because you know you have a lot of it. So go for it. Pull out your embellishments, use them for layers, just have fun with it, and scrap a color photo that's hard to scrap. Find some washi tape that matches it, and there you go. You've got instant matching. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.